a couple of shelves and some cleaning, and we've got it. But I mean, we started this thing 3 weeks ago, and it's been every night after work and every weekend trying to get this thing wrapped, tear all the crap out of it, get all the fugly and the nasty out of the inside of an RTD bus that came out of Denver. Like it was actually still 2 months ago, it was still hauling people in town.
Right. Jesus. Well, and I will remind you that when you said you had bought or were about to buy a bus, you said you need to quit messing around about your old bus and we need to just get you another new bus and we'll just fix it all up and we'll do all the things. You used the term "we" and you could not have done two buses. Let's be.
Well, we could have. Yours would have been a lot simpler than this one, other than running a bunch of cables and stuff.
That's true. That is true. We would look pretty funny going down. Well, and by funny, I mean awesome. Going down the road in two matching buses, because whenever two buses are going to the same place at the same time, sure, it's a race.
Yeah. Well, and on top of that, we would look like we're like on some kind of tour, which we are technically.
Yeah, it would be awesome. I love it. Okay.
I didn't get a chance to do it, and I had a name that I was going to put on the license plate, but I changed it. So I'm going to see when we get home if we can get custom license plates for it. But I'm just going to put "struggle" on the license plate. So
the struggle bus. That's so good. Oh my God, I love that. I love it. That is awesome.
It's gonna help a bunch. Like trying to we won't have to move anything in and out all the time. Everything will be inside. We don't have to worry about rain and dirt and whatever. And the nice thing is at night, when everybody, the last guys that are, at midnight are still trying to remember that they need to turn their time slip in and stuff like that, they can just step inside. There'll be light, and if somebody needs an extra shirt or whatever, we're not climbing across all the crap piled in the trailer. You can just come in here and get shirts and stuff. So
right,
it's really
exactly.
That'd be cool.
Well, and I got to say that, it's, I have to mention this because you mentioned it to me and it makes me laugh, but this is really, really, really going to help June out. Okay. And the rest of the girls that are there at the, normally at the trailer. But with that said, June was kind of against it at first. Like, she's like, no, I want to be outside with everybody. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. She was concerned that she was going to be, going to be hard for her to hear. And then the level of where she was going to be. And originally we were just going to take the emergency windows and fold them out and lock them. And I'm like, okay, well, I said, just give us some time. So we figured out how to take these windows apart. This thing's actually really cool because it's like a Rector set. It's got all these bolts that you just move stuff wherever you want it. So we popped the center divider out, unscrewed the two windows and made this frame for it. I'm like, now look, you have this big open space. They're right level eye with you. You're not standing way above them or whatever. And then she was okay about it. But her biggest thing was that she didn't want to be disconnected from what she does with everybody, and she was like, I'll stand outside. I'm like, well, we'll let you. You're going to probably still be out there with your tables and stuff when we do registration because that's just chaotic enough as it is. But
right
now, once things slow down, they can hang out in here and, everybody will be on the same level anyway. So it'll be all right.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it. So we got a couple of comments before we move on to other stuff. Coach E.L. Short. Yeah, talking about Kill Care where I was last weekend. And announcing and doing the live stream there for a no prep race. That was super fun. Larry Myers at Pueblo Motorsports Park. Awesome that you are here. We appreciate it. Doug Gordon said he just finished Sick Ward on Sick Summer. You are welcome, dude. We actually had a conversation about that this morning. We, when we started Road Week to allow people to do a drag and drive without actually racing, we hoped it would become a big thing. And now Sick Week and Sick Summer and all of them have also adopted the whole thing and they call it the Sick Ward and it's cool. So it's awesome. To everybody that is watching, Neil Sabo in the house. Neil is going to be my right-hand man on the live stream again this year. But we have a change on the live stream. We have a couple of changes, but the big thing is that Neil and I are going to be in a Ford Transit van that we are picking up tomorrow. And that thing is going to be outfitted with some very large MacFab beadlock graphics on the side. Okay, giant decals that we had made. And that is all part of a contest where we've gotten MacFab Lyle and Mark Barnett have agreed to come on board and help us out with some giveaways for you racers. So this is a big deal. We'll talk about it more in the drivers meeting as well, but you are going to take pictures of yourself and or your car or something else cool with the MacFab van. As me and Neil are driving it all over Hellengong, we'll be at checkpoints. We'll be everywhere with you guys on the trip. And you're going to tag them and use a hashtag in posts about that van. And you can win some really cool swag packs, which are going to be shirts and hats and that kind of stuff. And somebody is going to win a set of beadlocks. So it should be really cool. You know, Matt and I are really big on getting people involved to give away stuff. And quite frankly, I can't even tell the number of times we've had a sponsor, quote unquote, that has come on board, and to get them started in the whole event, it's just all been about having them help give away more stuff. And so that's what we're absolutely doing. And yes, if you can get Neil in the picture, that is an extra bonus, because Neil is absolutely scared to death of cameras. He believes that they will suck your soul out, so he doesn't like pictures of him. So if you can catch Neil in a photo, that's extra good. But we're going to talk more about that in the drivers meeting. But know that you are going to need to do a hashtag, and you are going to need to actually tag MacFab Beadlocks on Instagram and or Facebook or both to be in the contest. And then they're going to randomly pull, from all the photos and everything else. And then for some of the swag packs, and then Mark and Lyle are going to choose their favorite photo to give away a set of beadlocks. So it's super awesome. I was on the phone with Lyle actually when Matt came on, he and I, before we went live. And, you know, Lyle's a really good friend of mine, and I love that guy to death. And it's cool that they, decided to step up. So it's very, very cool. And they're also doing a $500 gift certificate for the Wicked Chick Awards, which is really, really cool too. So we appreciate their support. We have tons of great sponsors. Matt and Adam are posting those all the time. You guys need to support our sponsors. It means a lot to us to have, them on board for sure. So thank you to them.
And rolling into that, we'll talk about who's actually going to be on site, so they kind of get an idea for that. It's Mel Hambright. I always mess that up because it's just different for me. But those guys, they're bringing their big trailer this time, so they'll have tires and fuel and nitrous and all kinds of parts and stuff like that. Those guys will be on location all week, so super cool for them. So if you need anything, if you have any thoughts of something you need prior, reach out to them. Brian Tooley will be there with all kinds of LS stuff for you guys on site, and an injector cleaner, which actually they used that a ton last year, cleaning injectors for people. So they'll be on site. Force Performance will be around. I think actually I got him convinced to actually run his car in it this year. So that's going to be pretty cool.
He is. Yep.
Yeah. He was working on his tranny the last I talked to him. So he'll be there. We're going to his location and visiting it with him as a checkpoint. So, it's really great to have those guys that are actually going to be on location and helping us. And we really appreciate that. And then so many more. There's so many other sponsors, Motion Race Works and SICK, came on board this year, and many, many smaller sponsors that support us every year. So we can't thank them enough. But those guys on site, they're going to help you get things squared away and take care of things. So just anticipate that they're going to be there.
Yeah. Well, and I want everybody to, remember that, we're all thrashing, we're all running around like crazy. We all know it. Obviously, we've been doing this a long time. But one of the things I want to remind everybody of is, man, take a breath. Okay. There are times where you're going to want to be wound up. We all know it. We've all been there. Take a breath. Okay. And when you need a break and you need to just walk away from the car because whatever isn't going your way, that's when you go and walk up to one of the sponsors and thank them. I mean, that'll make you feel good because you're not worrying about your car at the moment, and they're going to thank you for thanking them. And it just makes everybody feel better. So, be nice and take care of each other. And that's just, the best way you can go for sure. And I have to say that, you guys out there have always been really, really good about taking care of the sponsors and taking care of each other, and we appreciate that. Matt and I had a conversation about that today. It sets you guys apart from the other events, is all I'm going to say. So we really do appreciate it. Red Hat Scotty in the house, Carl Steamy, everybody is in. I know one thing I wanted to bring up. I forgot. I don't even know if I told Neil this yet. So I told Matt this. I think he's the only one that knows. We are doing a fundraiser this year to add to our Young Guns, Rookie, and Wicked Chick Award prize money. We're selling ice cream. I'm bringing an ice cream freezer that is in my shop that is awesome. We're going to put it in the van. We're going to bring it out. We're going to set it at the registration at the bus every day. And you guys, there'll be a way for you guys to just throw money in a bucket, grab an ice cream, throw some money in, and all of it's going to go to our 3 specialty awards as well. So ice cream is going to be in the house, and like Otter Pops, Matt's like bringing some stuff. And I know you guys, and you're going to wipe through a bunch of ice cream. So I'm sure we'll have to refill this thing like 2 days in. So you guys can put in requests and we'll pick up whatever we need. So, and if anybody knows somebody that's an ice cream distributor, let us know. That'd be cool.
Yeah. And then Michael Schoonover is making, I don't know if he's doing 2 or 3 or 1 or 3, but he's doing some pretty cool American flag deals. And I think he might be doing one, like 3 different ones, but that's going to go into a raffle situation, and that money will be split between, all those 2. So we're doing a bunch as much as we can to raise that money. That all that goes back. Anything that you guys put into it goes back into the pot for those guys. So that's super cool.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I can't wait. Okay. Let's see, Cameron. I'll check on that and I'll get you approved. And Brandon Holmes has a question, Matt. What's the objective for Junior Street class? Is it closest average for the week? And how many kids have registered so far?
I don't know the actual number on the kids registered. I want to say that we have, from what I've gathered from talking to people, and I'm sure there's some that will be signing up when we get there, but I want to think that we have, I think 8 is what I believe we have. So
okay, great.
I mean, if we get to 10, that'd be awesome, but I think that's right where we're at. We might be somewhere in the neighborhood of 8. And then it's there. Let's see, how does that go? It's the fastest. It's them closest to their own average. You're not trying to compete for each other or against each other for an overall average. It's whoever's closest to their own average.
Right. So whatever they run on day 1, they are trying to copy that every day, right?
Yes.
Okay. That's what I thought. Jeff Moore says that he's working on some special stuff with Adam as well for Young Guns, which is awesome. Great. Floyd Henderson asks, have there been any rule changes? Not that I can think of, but
I mean, not currently. I mean, we did do some stuff over the winter time that changed. You can do Lexan as long as you have the stock frame rail around the windows, as long as it appears stock. I don't have a problem with that, as long as it's not race car-y looking. So we had that. We changed that this last year, or over the winter time. We were doing something. We were putting out there that if you, and I don't think it really grabbed or anything, but if you run on a 10.5 Outlaw tire in the unlimited class, then that allows you a 300-pound difference in weight, just to kind of give that a little bit of a difference. So there's that deduction there. But I think other than that, I can't remember anything else that we did. I'll have to go back through it, and we'll talk about it at the driver's meeting. I'll make sure that there's not something that needs to be corrected, but I think that was about it.
Yeah. Junior is asking, are we doing the live stream again? Yes, we are. So Neil and I will be on site. We're going to be broadcasting from the van. Will be our headquarters. There's also a cool thing that is new that Neil and I have been working on, and more of it will come out during the week. But we will be live streaming from the road and from checkpoints. And we won't be the only ones. So there will be a few people that are going to have a way to live stream from the road, and we're going to put some of that into play. And it may even manifest itself into Matt doing more pit interviews and more walking around and hanging out in the staging lanes, and not just Matt. It's going to be cool. We're going to have an Adam cam this year as well. So there's some fun stuff. Look for things to evolve as we go through the week, because quite frankly, we're not only planning on doing our whole our whole live stream like always, but we're already preparing for next year's double event. So there's a bunch of things that we are working on for that. It's going to be really fun. So we're definitely excited about that. It should be fun. Can't wait for sure. I want to thank Barn for being on. Barn is our moderator extraordinaire, one of them. So he'll be handling all the crazy people in the chat during the live streams. John Martin asked a good question. He says, what time does everyone usually head out for the next track in the morning?
That varies from person to person there, your group to group.
Yeah, it really depends on your car. So the reason I say that is if you're somebody that's driving, and I'm not ripping on anybody, I'm just using these as examples. Please don't gripe at me. But if you're driving like a late model Challenger, let's say, and it doesn't have very many modifications, and this thing's a driver that you drive all the time, and you're not concerned about it on the road, and you're capable of going 75 or 80 miles an hour down the freeway, then you may look at the map on Google and, the route that I gave you and go, well, shit, I can do that in 4 hours. So you leave at 7:30 a.m. when you want to get there at noon, right? But if you're somebody that's in something that has a harder time going down the road, takes more maintenance on the road, has been braking earlier in the week, whatever, you may leave at 5 in the morning. It just depends.
And heating issues and stuff like that all plays into that too. Whether you want to get out of there early because your stuff gets hot, or like I said, you're eating a lift. Your car eats lifters, and you need that time frame. See, that's what's crazy is people don't think about what we do with doing this at night. There's this weird stigma that that doesn't give me as many hours to drive. Well, that's actually the opposite of what you think. Like, here's the deal, okay? This is exactly how this changes it, because on some of these other ones, when you race during the day and you drive at night, well, here's the deal. When you break down and you're out there in the middle of nowhere at midnight, you ain't going nowhere to get no parts. Everybody's closed, right? You're not doing with this. You have the same amount of hours to drive, plus every place is open. So everybody's got a shop open. You can roll in there, con them into letting you use the lift or whatever, or weld, or you need a part or whatever, or you're Doug Klein and O'Reilly drives 70 miles to bring you an oil pressure switch or whatever it is, that option is there for you. And then you have that time from when you leave in the morning until all the way up till 9 o'clock at night, or, if you get there 10 minutes before the gates close and you're going to be able to, switch it over, or you're just going to go on your radials, your drive tires or whatever, you have that whole entire time to make it there to get it done. And that's the difference.
Absolutely.
Like, people don't understand that gives you so much opportunity. They freak out and think, well, it's different than what we've normally done, so this doesn't make no sense. When it actually works way better for you. Plus, the whole reason there's lots of reasons that we do it at night. One is obviously spectators can get off work, they can come see what we're doing. That's a plus. But the other part of it is too, how many times have you raced all day long and gotten your pickup to tow your car home, and all the adrenaline starts to run out of you and you're dead tired while you're driving down the road at night? Well, that's the same thing that happens in your hot rod. You're burned out, you're hot, you get in your hot rod, now you got to drive. Some of us end up driving 8 hours when we do these things because our car doesn't go fast enough, and you're out there all night long. There's a lot of difference between driving all day long and you're tired when you're driving. As soon as you get to the drag strip, there ain't nobody I know that's tired and going to fall asleep at the drag strip when they're getting ready to go drag race. It just doesn't happen.
Right. Exactly. 100%. And I want to make sure everybody understands too that, we're in a situation here where this is a real drive, right? There's definitely these routes. Some of them are long. I made every one of them and drove every single inch of them. Okay. But with that said, we still do not recommend you leave that night. Okay. There are some people I know that want to get a head start at night. We do not advise that. Now, The reason is not only because what Matt was just talking about, but also you've been up on adrenaline all afternoon and all night, and you've been racing and you've been in a thrash. And as soon as you get in that car and it's now dark, I mean, dude, it's real easy to get sleepy in a hurry. So if you are going to do any driving at night, we do not recommend it, and we do not recommend you go far. And please be careful, because falling asleep, there's nothing worse than that. So,
and drunk drivers and everything else that goes along with that. I mean, there's other things that they get a hold of you, and we're just trying to make sure that you're safe as possible.
So Pat Cook says if you're an idiot on a Grom, you leave like at 6 a.m. But if you have more speed, it's great to sleep in a little bit. Oh my God, you ain't kidding. Junior Johnston, I know that you're referring to the free live stream, and the live stream will always be free here. I have a theory on drag racing online. I'll say it. It's fine. I say you don't pay for porn on the internet. You shouldn't pay for drag racing on the internet either. There you go. I said it. That's what the rule is. Sorry. Aaron and Trevor Brandon said, I love the night racing. Absolutely. It's great. Floyd Henderson. Floyd Henderson says, I don't have anybody to help me. So what advice would you give? You need to get in with a group. Go introduce yourself to some people and follow along with them.
Absolutely. And we do something for you guys that only, if you're a single guy, right, you're a single person, or you have somebody that's elderly or younger or whatever that can't help you in your car with your car, what we do is we allow another racer to actually get the black band to help you as your co-pilot. So
that's right.
So that helps you out a ton, and that gets you an opportunity to be able to go out there and team up with somebody, and they'll help you. Or if you have a friend of yours, that you're going to be kind of tagging along with or whatever, get him to go up there and see June. They'll give you that black band, and I think it's the black one. It'll probably be different this year, but you get that co-pilot band, and that guy gets it. And when we see some other guy helping you when the track's hot or whatever, then we know that band, he was issued that to help you. So and then obviously, like you said, get with somebody, because obviously the road part of that's a little different.
Yes. David Martin is asking, does anybody put together a video of the week after it's all over? No, because it would be 1,000,000 hours long and the editing would just cost us a fortune. However, you can watch a replay of every live stream. So every live stream will be available for replay on the YouTube channels. So you won't have a problem there. Let's see. So Hugo says, on the second route, a road is closed until July. Is it okay to take a detour? Hugo, you need to tell me what road that is, because that's not the case as far as I know. So you need to tell me what that is, and we'll make a change. We already made a change if you're talking about the road that's in front of City Hall in downtown Fort Worth. That's already been changed. You just don't know it because you haven't got your printout yet. Alan,
detour, we're the ones that give you the detour. Like if we get a call from somebody and they say, hey, there's a detour, it'll get posted out there to go to the other route or whatever.
Right. Yeah, we'll get you taken care of. We promise. Alan says you never travel alone on this race. You'll have no problem finding help when and if you need it. Everyone is super helpful to each other, and that is the case. So if this is your first time and you don't have a bunch of friends on this event yet, please go introduce yourself. You'll start talking to people. You'll end up in with a group of guys, and you'll get on the road together and have a good time. So we really do, we encourage that, because you're going to have fun. That's for sure.
Apparently there are newbies on here, so we'll talk about some of the stuff that we offered that, so they're prepared for that. We have a little smart car that we bring with us, so if you need to run into town while your car's all tore apart out, if you have it yard sold out and you need to run to town, we have that for first come, first serve, where one guy will go and a bunch of guys will give him a bunch of stuff that he needs to pick up at the parts store and bring it back. So we have that. We also run with our trailer, our open car trailer. So if somewhere along the route, now it's hard for us to deviate and go back because it's our staff and we got to get to the next track. But if there's some way if you have a broke down car and we need to pick you up along the way, or you break at the track and you need to get to the next track, we have a trailer that's available to get you back. We bring a bunch of parts in a tote. I mean, I have a lot of miscellaneous stuff here. We try to make sure that we have most of my impacts and all my electrical Milwaukee tools and stuff like that on the bus. It'll be on here. So if you need to come check that out, to use it or whatever and bring it back, that's fine. The other thing that we have, there's kind of two big things, is we have a portable car hoist on site, and he's there at every track, and sometimes he'll be in the parking lot at the hotel. If you call him and say, hey, I'm in a bind, he'll roll up if he can, and he'll do that. And then also we have a mobile truck to do fab work, welding, all that kind of stuff. And it's amazing over the last couple of years how many things that those guys have fixed and kept people going, whether it's trailer tongues or ladder bar brackets or broken fuel tank from a shake, whatever it is, they're there. And we take care of them to make sure that they're there, but they do work off of tips. They take the tips and stuff that they get there. That's greatly appreciated. So keep that in mind if you do use those services, or even if you don't and you want to throw something in their bucket just to help them out. They're not asking for it, but it definitely helps them. They're taking a week off of their work and they're losing that work to come out and make sure we're taken care of. And I'll tell you what, that's a phenomenal service to have those be a part of our event.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I can tell you that on the very first drag week, Jim Neuenfeld had a welder on his trailer that he was pulling behind his half-ton Chevy pickup, and he wasn't a welder, but he brought a welder. I'm a welder. So I welded multiple exhausts, ladder bar brackets, fuel tank mounts, a bunch of different things that year on the very first drag week. In fact, I literally was looking at a picture today of me, a much skinnier, younger Chad, rolling out from under the back of a Camaro that I had to weld on a couple of times on different things that broke off of it. So having all of that kind of support is definitely super cool. But that also brings up, I want people to, you got to think problem solver wise when you have an issue, right? So let's say you're on the road somewhere and something breaks. Okay. Remember, I mean, I can't tell you the number of times we've pulled into a muffler shop and been able to, hand the guy $40 to turn around and go on a break for 15 minutes so I could use the welder, so, be creative, be nice to people, walk in, tell them the story. It's crazy. Get out your phone and start filming. People love that stuff, and they will, they'll usually help you when they can, so you definitely want to do that. I will remind everybody, as you're getting ready, it's easy to forget certain stuff. I literally, on the other side of this camera, my front room of my house looks like an electronics store and a t-shirt shop blew up. It's insane the amount of crap that I have that I'm trying to organize to get ready to put in the van. But we all forget things. Well, one of the things everybody should have on the road, and we will have one in the van, is a fire extinguisher. Make sure you have a fire extinguisher with you, and it needs to be in a readily accessible place, not buried in your trailer or buried in the trunk of your car. It's not just for on the racetrack. In fact, on the racetrack, they have people for that. But on the road, God forbid, you need one. So make sure you have that. Jeff Moore is saying extra ratchet straps. Absolutely. That's a great idea. There's no doubt.
Something about that fire extinguisher that people need to remember too. A lot of the time when you mount them in a car, they're mounted vertical, not horizontal, right? So vertical, yeah.
Yes.
I think I got it right. Well, anyways, what happens is they lay on their side and it packs the powder in there. And when you go to pick it up and pull the trigger, nothing comes out. So if you ever have a problem and your fire extinguisher is like that, tap that sucker on the ground before you go to, because it'll do no good if it's been riding around vibrating in that car for a long time and it has all of it packed to one side.
Right. And there's, you got to think not only about yourself, but about what you may need to help with. Okay. As well. So yeah, just do that for sure. Charles is talking about snacks, which are always great. Ron Connor actually has a good idea. And it's funny you say this, Ron, because I literally did start this today. It sounds funny to say this, but start hydrating now. If you don't have them, you need to go to the store and get some of the Liquid IV powder packets. You put them in a bottled water and shake it up. They taste good and they have electrolytes in them and stuff. Gatorade is good, but you need to not just drink electrolyte stuff. You got to drink water and those both. Throughout the week, it's super easy to get way dehydrated.
We put them in. We put some in your goodie bag. That's part of your goodie bag. And then I'm not going to say a whole bunch about it, but because I can't really say a whole lot about it. But if anybody gets to the point while they're at the track and they start getting heat sickness or feel like they're overwhelmed or whatever, or maybe even if you're in your hotel room, we've had a couple times where guys have gotten that way. I need you to, if you come to me as soon as you know that that's happening, and we have some stuff with us that will reverse that very quickly. It's a service that's it's something that we have a friend of ours, and actually a racer, is providing, but there's a little bit of stuff that can't be for type situation. So you understand, and also in the drivers meeting and stuff like that too. But we really worry about your guys' safety. We worry about making sure that you're not getting overwhelmed and stuff like that. And I told June too. We had a couple situations last year where guys got sick, and I'm not sure if it was diabetic situations or whatever, but we had one guy go off the road. Another guy was having an issue, and his wife had to come get him. So when that kind of stuff happens, I'm told her I want you guys. I'm going to have you fill out a form when you come to the trailer. It gives us emergency contact for you and your phone number so that we can get a hold of you, because there's been a couple times too that we've even lost guys. They blew a motor or whatever, and RM Lloyd is actually one of them. He's in his 70s. He never showed up to the track. And sorry, I got flies flying around here, but he didn't show up to the track, and I was super worried about him, and I didn't have a way to contact him, and I don't want that to be the case. It'd be easier if we can just pick up the phone. I have a lot of your guys' numbers on my phone because you're sending your tech, but I would like to have that on file just if something does happen, if we need to get a hold of somebody or whatever, that we have that.
Absolutely. So speaking of tech, if you have not sent your tech video in to Matt, you need to do that to Matthew E. Frost on Facebook Messenger. So send that to him, and it will help you go through the tech process way quicker. And if you don't know what we're talking about, if you haven't done a tech video before, what do you want to see, Matt?
So I'm on your street stuff, and I have you go over a couple of other things with that, but street stuff, it's going to be your tail lights, your headlights, your turn signals, your brake lights, your horn. That's your basics, plus your insurance, your license, your actual physical license, and your registration. I'd like you to take pictures of each of those things to send them to me, because when you do the video, it gets blurry, and I'm starting to get blind, so it's hard for me to see that stuff anymore. Or even too, just call it out as you're looking at it. Then that's really helps me too, either to point out the date or say the date of expiration, because a lot of the time when I'm doing these, I click on them and I'm listening to them and watching them while I'm basically working. I know you're not supposed to be looking at this stuff and driving, but I have to do everything. I got to multitask. So that's usually when I'm doing it at 6 o'clock in the morning. Some of you guys got texts from me probably this morning at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning saying, hey, you're good to go, because that's how I have time to do it. So, but click on those or talk about it. And then the other things I asked you to do is, if your battery is not in the factory location, you have to have a cutoff switch on the back of the car. Well, sometimes when guys fire that, you click the switch while the car's running, the alternator feeds back and it won't shut off. So this is just a good step for you guys to check it to make sure it works. It's not really for me, because the NHRA tech's still gonna ask you to do that anyways. But this is just you practicing so that you know that if there's a problem, you can fix it early. The other thing is I have you check the neutral safety switch, because that's another thing that sometimes is overlooked. And then if we can catch it on the video, you're like, oh man, my neutral safety switch isn't working. I need to fix that. Double springs on the carburetor return. We like to look at that. Catch cans. So any of that kind of stuff, what tire you're running on the rear of the car. I don't care what steer tire you have. I don't care what tire you're driving on the street with. I like to see what tire you have on the rear of the car for your drag racing aspect. Two reasons. One, if it's an aggressive tread, I want to know if the tread wears over 200, because if it is, you got to run out of the groove, and I want to let you know that. Two, this is a really hard one, and this is something that guys, and we'll talk about in the drivers meeting too, is you have to be aware of the rules for the class that you're running in. And here's why, okay? I can look at your tire. You can tell me you're running in the 14.0 class, and I know that you need to have, a radial or a DOT tire on there or whatnot. And you might change a class, and that's just an example, but you might change classes on me after the fact, because you're allowed to do that before you turn your first time ticket in. You can change classes. Well, if you change classes and you don't go check the rules, and then you end up with the wrong tire on your car, what happens is that competitor of yours that you're 1, 2, and 3, he's looking at you going, this dude ain't got the right tires on his car. And here's what happens. I don't kick you out of the class most of the time. I'll walk over there and tell you, you know what? You're in a number 1, 2, or 3 position, and you don't have the right tire on your car. You're going to run on your street tires. That's what you get to run on for the next 2 passes or however many you have left, and you completely lost your whole program because you just didn't check the route. And I can't always check them, and we don't catch some of that stuff because I can't necessarily know what class you're in all the time. But I can guarantee you that if you're in the top of your class, your competitor is going to know that you don't have the right stuff on your car, and they're going to come and tell me. Once they come tell me, I have to do something about it.
Exactly. Agreed. TJ is saying, what certs and licenses do I need to run, say, 850, and how would I go about getting them? Dude, this is way late to be doing that, TJ. So if you need a chassis cert, which you need if your car is 850 or quicker, then you need to be calling chassis shops near you or drag your, you go to NHRA.com, look up your division. They have contact information for you in your division, whether you're a member or not, it doesn't matter. And they can help you with that. As far as licenses, if you are, if you're running quick enough to need a license, we can take care of that on race week, but you need to get the paperwork, which you can print off of NHRA.com, but you need to fill out the paperwork, and you need to understand that could limit you on your runs on day 1 because you need to make progressive runs down the drag strip. We'll do everything we can to get you those runs, but if you have the ability to go to your local drag strip tomorrow night, then you should do that and get some laps in. Start your licensing runs.
We can go over how that's going to work too, because there is a part of that works out for you if you're in a bind like that.
Right.
So we start our tech at 8 o'clock in the morning. Okay. So you guys line up for your tech at 8 o'clock in the morning. If you're in the fast pass, which is anybody that sent me their virtual tech or whatever, video tech, however you want to call it, or has ran a big dragon drive this year, within this year, they've already checked you. So you can go to the express lane too. That's another way to do it. The requirements for that is you have to have the banner still on your windshield of your car, so I can see that you actually made it. If you take it off, I'm not going to go messing around trying to figure out whether you did or not. So you just go to the regular tech. And if you go to regular tech, it's not that big of a deal because the way that we have it set up with this video tech and regular tech, it goes super fast. You're not going to have any issues getting through it, so don't sweat it. It's going to take a little bit longer, but sometimes it don't really take that much longer because there's so many people on the line over there for the fast tech. Right. By the time we get you done, you're already there. So,
and let me say something Matt won't say, but I'm going to say it. And I'm not saying this to bag on anybody. It's just the reality. Drag Week and Sick Week have the worst tech situation in the history of Dragon Drives because they are the same staff, the same procedure, all of that. It takes an entire day. It's a shit show. It's horrible. Our tech is not like that. Okay. We have considerably less rules. It is a much more streamlined process, and we get people through. So you will not spend 12 hours waiting in line for tech at a Rocky Mountain Race Week event. Just saying.
And so if you need to get your license runs in, and this all depends on how many of you guys have to do this, right? So if you need to do your license runs, get in tech early, get that done, because what we do, it costs you $25 a head. And what we do is before the driver's meeting, the hour before the driver's meeting, the track will run you as many times as they can get you around in that hour to get you as many of those runs. So you may be able to get everything done to where you actually can do full passes for your first hits, when we go live at 3 o'clock. It all depends on if your car can or do whatever, if you got problems. But that's something we've been doing because obviously we don't generally do a test and tune prior. So this is kind of our way, and we know there's a lot of tracks out there that don't give you the opportunity to do those things, so we're trying to give you that opportunity by giving you that hour window. But make sure you're there on time and you get there early so that you can do that. If you show up at 2:30 and you're still needing to make license runs, well, I'm sorry, you already done screwed yourself already.
Right. Okay, good question. Floyd Henderson, why does Unlimited have a weight rule? I thought it was anything goes. It's not anything goes at any Dragon Drive. It's not us alone. That's there are weight rules and other stuff at all of them.
The reason that there's a weight rule for it is, yes, it is unlimited. Anything goes. But what our thought process was on that was to try to keep the pro mod style cars out of this deal, because that was what basically ruins it. When you start and it hasn't happened, and maybe we'll never be that place that they show up and try to do it or whatever. But we don't want the lightweight car coming in there and taking away from the actual true street car. That was the big thing. Kind of one of the reasons that I started this was because I have all the real deal steel car that weighed 3,500 pounds. And that was when Drag Week kind of changed things around, and Bailey came in with the lightweight car, and Larry came in with the lightweight truck, and all that stuff, and it kind of destroyed things. That's why you have Ultimate Iron now. Well, we're not big enough to have an Ultimate Iron and an Unlimited, so this is our way of kind of regulating a little bit and making it that you got to put some weight into that car so that it's a little bit equal playing field for everybody that shows up for that class.
Yeah, because what a lot of people don't know, the S10 that everybody knows, he's like, I built that truck with Larry. That was, he and I collaborated. That was our project. It's our truck. We built that thing. We're the dumbest people in drag racing. We built that truck 100% so that Hot Rod would ban it after we ran it one time. That was the whole reason, because we didn't believe that cars like Bailey's and a few other pro mod style cars, we didn't believe that they had a place in Drag and Drive. We didn't want those to be the case. So we built the S10 to be the thing that they outlawed because it ran in the fives at over 250 mile an hour. And we wanted them to outlaw it, and they didn't. So is what it is. They did get rid of any extenders on the nose, which is completely stupid because they don't understand drag racing, and they don't understand that isn't an advantage. Inherently, it's to make the overhang the same on all the cars, but that's another technical thing. So anyway, so yeah, there is unlimited is unlimited, except you still have to hit that weight limit. So
if you run a 10.5 tire, you can take the 300 pounds off there, and you can be, pro mod, close to a pro mod weight. I mean, if you want to take that, yeah, I've done it. I actually ran the entire the first year that we did Rocky Mountain Race Week. I had my car on it, and I ran the car the entire week on a 10.5 Outlaw tire. You can do it.
Oh yeah, 100%. I love your car on a 10.5 tire. Actually, I don't know. There's something about it that's cool.
It's weird though. Like, you get it on a 10.5 and it's on there for a long time. You're like, oh man, that's really cool. And then you put the fat tires on, and you're like, man, that looks like crap. But then when you look at it with the big tires on it for a while, you're like, oh man, now it looks weird with the 10.5 on it. I don't know. It just grows on you, I guess. Yeah.
I guess exactly. All right, folks. So if you have questions on the routes, we've posted the first 3 days. We did not, or the first 3 drives. I did not post the last drive. Quite frankly, it's because it's 132 miles. It's super short. It's easy. So we didn't post that one. Some people asked if we could leave the last day to be a surprise. I said, sure, that's fine. If you know anybody who is along the route, we've already had people here in the comments that have mentioned this. If you know people along the route who have shops who are willing to help people out if they have an issue, if you can post that up in the RMRWers Facebook group, that would be awesome. I will have Adam start a post that is Rocky Mountain Race Week 2024, help, you know what I mean? Spots, shops, or whatever. We'll start that. And we'll do that so that you guys have a place to go and look. And we'll roll from there. The routes are fun. I did all the routes. Some of you are going to like parts of them better than others, but in general, it's cool. We have good stops. I want to thank Danny and some other guys. Danny Fatka got me hooked up with the fire chief in Bristow, Oklahoma. So we have a fire department drive by, and they may or may not accidentally spray a bunch of water in the street and allow you guys to do fun things that you're supposed to do with water in streets. And so you're definitely going to want to check that out. We have some cool checkpoints. The one I would say, you guys know I'm a fan of burnouts and shenanigans, but please, 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 and this is on the instruction, no burnouts at Texas Motor Speedway. I do a bunch of events there. They are not cool. They really didn't want us to have a checkpoint there in the first place. And I said, we can't go by Texas Motor Speedway without it. So please, no burnouts there. There is no Buc-ee's on the route this year as far as like an official stop, which hurts my heart. Okay. But there are 2 Buc-ee's that are on the routes that you can still go to. So so on the first drive day from Tulsa, when you leave Forced Performance, there's a Buc-ee's that's 10 minutes or so away, 15 minutes or so away, that you're going to drive right next to get on the freeway. So you can go to Buc-ee's there. And then after the Texas Motor Speedway stop, you could go through the intersection, go to Buc-ee's, and come back around as well. So that one's really good. So there's still some Buc-ee's for you to check out. I will still never forget, Matt, when the first year we went to Buc-ee's and I told you there was like 100 gas pumps and you thought I was just being normal, exaggerating Chad. And then you guys would have died. I'm literally FaceTiming Matt. My dad and I are pre-running the route. And I'm like, dude, I just counted all the pumps. There's enough pumps that we could put a car on each side of every one and fill the whole place with race weekers. It'd be awesome. And I'm all excited. And Matt's like, oh, ha, ha, ha. And then I turn around with the camera and he's like, how many gas pumps are there? I'm like, I told you 125 gas pumps. And it was like, holy crap. If you haven't been to a Buc-ee's, the biggest damn things you ever saw. So
it's one of the biggest ones here now. And it floors me to see. I'm like, it makes me wonder how many fuel trucks they got to bring in there a week to keep that, full. It's got to be amazing.
It is. And when you figure that they do sell DEF at the pump and diesel at the pump, and motorhomes are okay, but big rigs are not. Like, you can bring your motorhome, you can bring your toter, whatever, but you cannot bring a big rig in there. And that's their whole thing. It's not a truck stop. It's a family joint, you know?
It should be that way. I see all the time where guys are all pissed off that they can't go in there with their semis. You know what? Nobody wants your gross ass with your leaky diesel and everything else. And I'm a driver. Like, people, the standard of drivers is just, they don't take care of stuff. There's trash everywhere. I mean, I've seen them freaking in the line to fill up with fuel, pissing in the parking lot. It's like, you lazy, you can't walk 5 feet in the door there to go. You're going to come out here. And so, yeah, I completely understand why they want us in there,
Absolutely. Hello, absolutely. Okay, so Danny Fatka says, must do 2 times around the roundabout if the instructions say to. There are a couple of roundabouts on the route, and I have said either to do 1 extra or 2, depending on the roundabout. So that is in the rules. And as everybody knows, somebody is always watching. So yeah, you got to do that. You cannot camp at Buc-ee's. They do not allow overnight camping at Buc-ee's. So that is unfortunate, or I would just live at Buc-ee's. It would be awesome.
You need to spend all your money there.
Yeah, right? That's true. Absolutely. Junior Johnston says, little known fact, the Buc-ee's in Springfield, Missouri has enough storage tanks for 100,000 gallons of gas.
Well, when the apocalypse comes, I know where we're going for fuel then.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. And yes, it is a plus if you take video on the roundabout and post it on RMRWers. That's a thing for sure. If you are following people really close when you go into a roundabout and they are veterans, you need to back off just a little bit, because it's entirely possible they will slow down just enough for their passenger to hop out so they can make a couple of laps on video and then jump back in. So don't be too close and rear end your neighbor. That would suck. So Taylor Go has a good point. I did not at all look at where E85 was on the routes. It's too much of a pain. I didn't do that. So you need to look that up yourself. But here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Kroger's and HEB gas stations typically have E, and it's somehow actually decent E. E85 is what we're talking about. E85 in Texas in general is horrible because the state of Texas is as crooked as they come, and it doesn't have to be E85 standards like they are in every other state. So if you have the ability, you have your hydrometer and you can check it. I would if you're going to race on it, but generically speaking, Taylor is right. Kroger and HEB both have decent E85 at the pump. So there you go.
Another thing you can do with race week that you probably can't do with most places is you need to be able to haul. You can haul your fuel. You can haul the fuel. Somebody can haul your fuel for you. Okay, so if you pull over and you run out of fuel on the side of the road, they can't stop and pump the fuel for you there. But if you are at any gas station, once you get to the fuel station, they can transfer that fuel in, because it's just like you going to the gas station. So if you can't find driver, you're worried about it, and your buddy has enough room to haul your jugs for you, that's fine. But we catch you on the side of the road transferring it. So basically what happens is he's got to go ahead and go to the fuel station. If you run out of fuel, he's got to go to the fuel station. You've got to hitch a ride to the fuel station and transfer that into your jugs, and then you've got to haul it back to your car. You got to haul it back to your car and then pump it back in there.
100%. Oh, Taylor is saying not HEB. Sorry, I was reading this wrong. Not HEB stores. They don't have gas stations. Hearst, Euless, Bedford, which is the mid cities. It's this area between Dallas and Fort Worth. They have good E85 stations. So there is one area that is unfortunately nothing will be open when we go through this on the drive through Fort Worth, but it still looks cool, is the Fort Worth Stockyards. It's a big deal. The Fort Worth Stockyards are historic. They're awesome. If you are one of those people that wants to leave the night before, I would stay somewhere near there and go out in the Stockyards, and stay the night and then go. It's not far from Texas Motor Speedway, and there's tons of hotels and stuff up there. But the Fort Worth Stockyards are brick streets. It's a really old area. If you have 10 minutes extra, I would actually drive up and down some of the surrounding streets. Billy Bob's, which is one of the most famous honky-tonk bars in the world, is our checkpoint. So it's got a giant parking lot. It's super easy to pull in and get the photos and stuff. So it should be fun. The most I didn't go real specific on this, but generically speaking, paying attention, I don't believe there's anywhere on the route where you have to drive more than 25 miles between fuel stations. I want to say 20 miles, but I'm going to say 25. So it's great roads. It's great routes. There is, when we get into a couple of spots, you're going to want to go into town and get something to eat and all those kinds of things. Some of that's in the instructions with some alternate ways to get back on the freeway and stuff. All that stuff's really good. Floyd's asking, do we think we're going to have a lot of imports or front wheel drive cars this time? I don't know what the entry list is. Do you?
I don't. I mean, the ones that normally do usually PFI. I know they're not common. God dang it. I can't think of his name. Brent. Oh, sorry, Brent. Brent has back problems right now, so they're going to skip out. I know that I think I have seen a few of them on the tech, though.
Right. Okay, very good. That's cool. I always love seeing those guys out there. It's great. Jeff Evans talking about E. I'll tell Adam to also put a fuel/E85 post up in our MRWers. That way, if people know of places with pumps or you go and get some along the route, you could post up, hey, I just got E at this station. That would be cool. I have to tell you, if you run your car on E85 and you have a standalone, like God intended, in my opinion, if you don't have a gasoline tune for on the road also, you're doing it wrong and you're making life way too hard on yourselves. Because if you got yourself stuck and you had a gasoline tune, then you could just put 93. Actually, you don't even put 93. You could put 87 in it. I mean, I know nobody ever believes me when I tell you this, but most of the big guy car, Larry puts 87 octane in everything. We put 87 in the truck, driving it on the road. Right? Don't you, Matt?
No, I just run the lowest octane that they sell. That's what we put in there because I find that there's a lot less of the alcohol in some of these places now. I noticed that some of them, even the Buc-ee's, is alcohol free or whatever. But
yes,
the higher the octane, the more it's got in there. So we just run junk fuel.
Well, and the you say that most Buc-ee's have ethanol free gasoline, but the ethanol free is only 87. So like you said, run the cheap shit. It doesn't matter going down the road. It just doesn't. If you're just cruising down the road, you do not need more than that at all. So it's no big deal.
I don't see it here, but it seems like when we go back that way, the higher octane fuel is actually cheaper. Does that make? I've noticed that it seems like there's a difference in. It's weird, but it seems like the higher octane stuff is actually cheaper than the low, and I don't understand why that is, unless because it does have more ethanol.
That's exactly it. So they have a lot of the stations will have 5 octane ratings and instead of 3. And like they'll have a 90 or something, and the 90 is cheaper than the 87, and it's because it's actually E15 or E20 or whatever. Which,
Gotcha.
speaking of which, we've done all the testing on the engine dyno, and I've done testing with Chevrolet on all of this. Every car on Earth, carbureted, fuel injected, or otherwise, can run with up to 30% ethanol in it and not have an issue at all. So, like, if you have E15 or, it's going to hurt your mileage a little, but it's not going to hurt anything else. So if there's E15 or E20 and that's what there is, just get it. It doesn't matter. So, you'll be fine. Curtis Myers says it matters for trailer burnouts.
It does for that. Yeah. Because you'll hurt your motor probably.
Oh my God. It's greatness. Junior says Joplin, Missouri has a good E station. Let's see. Summer blend and winter blend are different. Yep, all those things. Floyd Henderson, we appreciate it. We think we're pretty awesome too every once in a while. Nobody else tells us that, but Matt and I will tell each other we're awesome, so it's fine. Any other questions? If you guys have questions, anything else we want to make sure everybody knows as far as on day one when they get to Tulsa, any special instructions for coming into the racetrack?
We'll talk about a couple of things. Some stuff that got brought up today too. No, if they want to get in there Saturday, they got to be in there before 9:00, 9 p.m. Because they got stuff going on. They'll put you in the impound area to stay the night, and then you'll be in there obviously. Excuse me. And then we start at 8:00. We'll have signs out there so that you know what's fast track. Basically, what we do is we do it in the lanes of the track. They're the staging lanes. We'll just cut it short. So what you do is you roll in with your car. We hand you the tech card and a pin. You fill it out. If you're in the fast lane, the fast tech, we put the numbers on your car, and then we send you up to the NHRA tech. If you're going into the regular tech, we go through all that. Then we put your numbers on there, give you the tech. You already have your tech card. You roll up to the NHRA tech. Once you have your NHRA tech card signed, that's your go-to. Go to June, and then June and them will give you all of your stuff that you need for the week. You'll get your stickers. You apply your own stickers. We don't apply them. The only thing is about it is you need to make sure that the girls will know what class you're running, what sticker goes on the windshields for your class sponsor, and then you apply the rest of the stickers wherever you want on the car. But they need to be visible. They need to be on the car. Those sponsors pay a lot of money to make sure that we can do this, so you need to make sure that you rep them proudly and put them on your car, because if we find you not having them on there, then there's penalties for that. Other than that, then we just basically we try to do the drivers meeting right around 3:00, and then it's usually try to be 2:30, 3:00, depending on how everything's going with the guys getting their license runs. And then at 3:00, track goes hot, and then it's on. Something that was brought up today that there was kind of a little bit of a back and forth on, and I kind of had to relook at it. But somebody says, "Well, aren't you, when you go off route or you're on the route, are you allowed to have more than just your co-pilot help you work on your car?" Absolutely you can. There's no limit on who can help you with your car once you turn in your slip at the end of the night. However, somebody else said, "Well, didn't it used to be that when you come into come into the track, that only you and your co-pilot could turn your car over before the track was hot?" And yes, that was true at one point in time. A lot of places had it. Is once you drove through that gate, that you and your co-pilot were the only one that could work on your car up until you turn that time ticket in. That's changed a little bit in my mind, and here's why. We have a lot of you guys that camp. There's a ton of people that camp. So what that would mean is that person, whatever time they got in there to camp, they would have to fix any major stuff on their car before they cross through if they needed help. And I just don't see any reason for that. Now here's the thing. So let's put this in black and white. From the time the track goes hot, so if the track goes hot at 3:00, from that point, you and your co-pilot are the only ones allowed to work on that car until you turn that time ticket in, and then it's free that somebody else can help you. But there's a secondary to that. If we look over there and every track you roll into, you've got a pit crew turning your car over, then you're going to have a problem. That's going to be a problem. This is all common sense stuff, guys. Like, just follow the rules. We're all adults here, and we're trying to do adult things, and we expect you guys to just adult yourself. Like, We don't need to be trying to, police you guys or whatever. But I'm telling you, if I look over there and some crew rolls in there, or all your buddies are over there, turning your car over every time, whatever. If you come rolling in there and you're late and you're behind and you're trying to get your car turned over before the track goes hot or whatever, it is what it is. Like, sometimes that stuff has to happen, and then we understand that. But if I see you having a whole crew bail out of a freaking car and they're turning your car over every time from the beginning to the end, when you start, and that same crew's coming in and turning it back over to street drive, we're going to DQ you, because that's not what this is about.
Correct. Agreed. And along those lines too, talking about Sunday, John Martin says, I'm a first timer. He says, what do the road weekers do Sunday while tech is going on? Do we come the same time as everyone else? I'm also on the wait list and will be ready to roll if I get called up. Because you're on the wait list, yes, you want to get there. Get there middle of the day. You'll be fine, But if you're a road weeker, you don't have to get there till later, but I would still get there. Why not? You get to hang out.
I'm not going to just read between the lines. If you're on the wait list and you're showing up, you probably need to be there at the same time everybody else is, and you need to probably come see somebody. That's all I'm going to say about that. But, so if that's where you want to be, if you're just a road weeker just coming to hang out and chill out, you can roll in there anytime you want to. You can come check it out, go see what everybody else is doing, rub elbows, check the cars out. You don't have to be there at that time. The only thing is we've talked about this. I don't usually do, if you want to come through the tech line, if you're a road weeker, because you anticipate that you're going to run your car down the track, maybe come get in line and do your tech. Because what we do is, once things slow down and like we're waiting for cars to roll up, if they're a little bit late or whatever, we try to get you road weekers a pass. We try to fill you guys in there, and we've done really well with it the last couple of years. We've usually been able to get you a couple passes through the week. But there's something you need to do. Sometimes what I'll do is one first day, probably not going to happen because we're so busy and there's so many cars, it's hard to get you through. So you're not going to have that the first day. Sometimes it may not even be the second day just because things are busy. But what I'll do is I'll have Adam call over the intercom and say, okay, I need any road weekers that want to make a pass, come down to lane 1 and we'll tech your cars at that time, that third day or whatever, and then we get you down the track. And then generally we'll call you back around a couple times. Once we get to that point where we can start calling you out, then we'll do that several times in the day. And same thing on Friday when we do our shootout. There's some time in there where there's some downtime between the index class and the shootout classes and stuff like that, so we try to get you in there. But what you need to do is, if you have a fast car and you didn't get in and you're just wanting to be a road weeker but you want to make passes, you need to have all the gear that you would need for that fast car. If you're not in a fast car, you need to have a helmet, you need to make sure you have closed-toe shoes, and you need to have a pair of pants, because you have to have those 3 things to be able to run down the track. We tell you that you have to have a helmet, even if it's not required by an NHRA. It's just our rule. We've kind of bent it a little bit over the years. I don't like doing that. I would rather make sure that you have a helmet. You definitely have to have pants, and you definitely have to have closed-toed shoes.
Yeah, and those pants should not be like track pants that are made out of nylon or sweats. Like, bring a real pair of pants. Okay, so Jesse Hazlitt is asking, he says, I haven't paid attention to the Ennis area routes, but there is a summit close to the Motorplex. He is correct. And so I just double checked this to make sure. On the route into Ennis to the Texas Motorplex and the route out of it on the way up to Noble, both of those routes will come within 7 to 10 miles of Summit. So Summit Racing Equipment is right in Arlington. Again, it is a very, very easy detour off of either route where you would go to Summit and come right back to going the correct direction. Like, it is out of the way, but it's out of the way a total round trip of either 15 miles or 20 miles. And it's Summit, for God's sakes. Also for Summit, they don't advertise this, but you guys should know, if you go to Summit in Arlington, when you get off the freeway and you come down the frontage road, Texas has weird roads. So you're on the frontage road and Summit will be on your right, and you pull up and there's the front of the store. If you drive past the entrance of the store all the way to the back corner, that's the scratch and dent and clearance and returns and all that department back there. So if you are hemorrhaging money on Rocky Mountain Race Week, like we've all done, go check that spot out first. They don't have those things like on the website. Like you have to just go look on the shelves and see what it is. But I do know a guy that broke a header and went in there and found the single header he needed. So you never know what you're going to find in there. They have, literally everything from fuel pumps to cylinder heads and crate engines and all kinds of stuff. So go to the Scratch and Dent. It's at the very back corner of the store. So yeah. No sleeveless shirts as well on the drag strip. The reality is somebody asked this the other day in RMRWers and said, hey, what's the requirement for when I should have a jacket? So I'm big on safety. I have friends that have been on fire. I've been on fire. I've luckily not hurt, but I've lit myself on fire a couple of times. So if you're going down the drag strip like ever, you should just buy a single layer jacket at the minimum. While you're in town, go to Summit. If you can't get one before then, a single layer jacket is like a $50, $59 thing. It's not a big deal. You can still wear it when it's cold outside, right? In my opinion, like this isn't the rule, but in my opinion, if you are going down a drag strip, the minimum is that you need to have a helmet. You should have a head sock. You should have a jacket. And you need to have denim jeans or other, like Dickies short pants, not nylon wind or track pants or sweats, and shoes and socks for sure. And I'm the guy that wears shorts and flip flops all the time. Like, don't get me wrong. I own more pants that are SFI rated than I do that are not SFI rated. Because I only own one pair of long pants that are not SFI rated. So yeah, wear the right stuff, get a head and neck restraint, be a race car driver. It's awesome. So, and as Ron says, 1150 and quicker, you need to have a jacket anyway. So step up. It's cool.
And I'll make sure I get them in the bus, but I do carry a couple extra of that stuff, gloves and jackets and stuff like that, just in case somebody does. I had one girl that didn't actually have pants, and we stuffed her in my pants, my big race pants. She looked goofy, but we made it work. So exactly. We want to try to help you guys have a good time. Like, we'll do whatever we can to help you, but you got to try to help yourself and try to be prepared. I know sometimes that doesn't happen and stuff gets forgotten or whatever. We get that, but just try to do your part and make sure you have what you can get.
Right. Taylor Go is saying Arlington PD is always in the Summit parking lot. That's because some people did a takeover there and screwed it up. So yeah, don't do burnouts there. They're not fun. Let's see. Okay, so we've covered the route stuff. Wicked Chicks, like I said, we have a bunch of cool stuff. We're going to be selling ice cream to raise more money for that and Young Guns and Rookies. The Wicked Chick shirts are done. And that's going to be cool. The Wicked Chick decals are done. Matt's going to show us the new t-shirts, which is awesome.
So there's that shirt.
Look at that. That's great.
And then the secondary shirt.
If you're new and you didn't know it, there's always two shirts on Rocky Mountain Racing. Oh, that's great.
Just the new logo.
I love it.
And then we have June did hoodies this year, so we got hoodies with the logo on there. She always has a hoodie. We have all the hats. We don't do a ton of different stuff, but we have a decent amount of stuff. So yeah, if you don't prepare to come and spend some money on some merch, because that helps us help you. So
yeah, exactly. If you have other questions, please put them in the RMRWers page. That's the quickest way to get responses. If you are a Wicked Chick competitor and you have not joined the Wicked Chick group on Facebook, please do so. We're going to make some announcements there. And Barn, I'll get you a tee. You don't worry about it, dude. I had them all made. I have extras. I do have, I don't know how many I'll have after we do the giveaway, but I have some extra Wicked Chick shirts that will be available for sale. Every year people ask, and every year I make exactly the amount that I'm told as far as competitors. And because I just can't afford to be making all kinds of shirts and not have anywhere for them to go. So this year we did the shirts different, and I will have some and they will be for sale. and the money from that will go into more prize money for the Wicked Chicks. So yeah, so it'll be awesome. And it is going to be really hot according to the weather stuff. Most of the routes are again on state highways and what have you. They are not on the interstate. I mean, we do get on the interstate here and there, but generically speaking, they're not. Through Oklahoma from Tulsa, there is a ton of beautiful green, like fields and trees and all that we're going down on a really nice, smooth, but 2-lane road. So, make sure you guys are ready for the hot. Okay, that's everything on my list. Anything else you can think of, Matt?
I just come with a good attitude and be ready to race and have fun and meet some new friends and we'll be there to do what we can do to make you have the greatest experience and ruin you so that you want to sign up and come back next year.
Yeah, because if this is your first time, we're sorry. And you should probably send your wife some flowers like midday Wednesday as the preemptive, we're never going on vacation again, honey, because I'm spending our vacation money every year on this. That's how this happens.
And the wife has to come and the kids have to come because it definitely, there's a lot of them that do and they enjoy it. And the next thing you know, your wife will be pushing you out of the seat of your car and she'll be trying to race it because she has so much fun. So
absolutely.
I want to based on how many people are excited about this crazy deal that we're doing next year. I mean, does everybody hate the idea? Do they love the idea? Are you excited? Do you think it's going to turn into a shit show, or you think we're going to make this happen? I'm kind of curious on where people's pulse is on that. If they're excited to be part of basically the biggest Dragon Drive in the history of Dragon Drives on our 10th year anniversary.
Well, and if you don't know what Matt is talking about, we are literally going to run 2 Dragon Drives at the same time next year in 2025. So we will have 2 Dragon Drive events at each racetrack each day. One event will be happening in the morning and the other one will be happening in the afternoon and the evening. They literally will be like Group A and Group B, and A will be like Rocky Mountain Race Week A and B will be Rocky Mountain Race Week B, and they will be doing 2 completely separate events, but they will both be at the same tracks at the same or on the same day, but at different times. And it's going to be insane. And we're going to need a much bigger crew for the live stream. But that's what we're already working on.
Right. And on top of that, not only that, so he misled you a little bit there. It's going to be Rocky Mountain Race Week is A or B, however we lay that out. And then Race Week is going to be
true.
So you have you're the same crew that you were. You're the September crew or you're the June crew. That's how you sign up. And
right.
That's how that out. And then what happens is we're planning a huge party after we get done with the 4th day. We're going to have a huge party. You're going to come back to the track. Basically, that'll be your breaking the beans. You make it back. We'll have our award ceremony. We're going to do some huge things. We're going to try to get every vendor that we possibly can, put up a bunch of stuff. It's going to be cool. And then everybody is going to fight for each of their, whether it's the BMF, Rowdy Radial, Index, all that stuff. Both sides are going to come together and collide, and you all are going to fight for the double purses that's going to happen with that deal. So it's going to be like the World Series of Dragon Drive.
It is. This is a cool one. Jesse Haslett said, I'm ready for it. I have friends in 1.0 and friends in 2.0, and I don't get to see them on opposite events, so I'll get to hang out with both sets. That's a great way to look at it. I love it. It's going to be really awesome. And we're going to have 2, well, we're working on the details, but we're going to have 2 live streaming crews. They're going to like leapfrog each other and some things, or Neil and I are just going to do a lot of crack for the entire week, and we'll just go through the whole thing and never sleep. It'll be fine.
I think meth is what helps you stay up 24 hours a day.
Meth. That's what it is. Meth. Okay.
You're going to be messing around, Chad.
God help us. Can you even imagine? Jesus. And yes, on the 4th day we party. That's for sure. That's what Barn says. On the 4th we party. And everybody that's a regular on our live streams knows Barn. But like I said earlier, he is one of our great crew. Edward and all the guys are awesome. They handle all the moderation in the chat when all of the weirdos get nuts. I do have to talk Barn Off the Ledge when people have asked 8,755 times whether Cletus has already run. Yeah. And the answer is no, because he won't be there this time because he blowed all his shit up. So, yeah. Yeah. Okay. And Alan Ledisma says, first 2 years I raced with my co-pilot, third year with the wife said, third year wife said, step aside. It's my turn. This year we're doing it together. That's awesome. That is awesome. And I'll tell you that the reason that we started Road Week, which we were talking about it today, I think this is the 7th or 8th. I think this is the 8th year of Road Week. I mean, we started it either the 2nd or 3rd year of Race Week.
I can't remember. We have 2 events, so it doubles, you know?
Oh, yeah, exactly. I mean, we've done it, 14, 15, 16 times at this point. And it started out because this event happens during the summer, whereas, now there's events all the time, but it used to be that it was all in September, and so nobody could bring their kids because they were in school. But the reason that Matt and June started this in June is because they had a whole house full of kids, and they couldn't do something without bringing them. So their kids, who are now adults, were little bitty kids when we all started this, which was awesome. Getting in trouble on golf carts and having fun at the races like kids should do, you know, and growing up in the right places. And so, you know, honestly, Royce Payton was sitting at a gas station, and his little girl, his wife and I think mother-in-law or whatever, and his daughter were in a minivan following along. And his little girl walks up to him while they're filling the car with fuel and says, "Daddy, they have ice cream inside. Do you want ice cream?" And she goes and gets him an ice cream and comes out and is standing there with their arm around her dad's leg, and the two of them are eating ice cream. And it was like, if that's not what we should be doing, then we're doing something wrong. And so we are all about the families coming and doing this, you know.
And
so
that's why the value of it is that's why we try to keep the value, you know, the cost of that down, because when you can load up your family and you can go do it, you know, I think what I'm at now is about, I think it's $275, I think is what the whole deal is or whatever.
Yeah.
And you get everything that the racer gets, and now you even actually get to go down the track. But that basically gets you, you know, 4 adult T-shirts and as many people that you need to stuff in that car, and you can go and you can park right next to the other racers, and you're right there with them doing that. I mean, that was what it was all about. This is your guys' vacation, and we want your family to be involved. And we've seen it. We've seen these young kids go from being kids to they're now racing their cars and doing this stuff. And what a great way to keep the generations of, you know, the future generations into the sport and keep it rolling. Because let's face it, if we don't have the kids involved in this, it'll die.
100%. And we have so many kids. The Wilson family always comes to mind. I mean, Blaine, obviously there's so many of them, but the Wilsons were some of the first kids that were out here. You know, they were out here with their dad, who on the very first year had to change a motor with a forklift at Great Bend. Chad Ehrlich got him a motor from a buddy at a wrecking yard, and they swapped out a 4.8 for a 5.3 and put the turbo back on it and hit the road. Those kids learned good life lessons, and now they're coming not only with their rest of their siblings, but now their husbands and wives, right, as they've been getting married the last couple of years. Like, all of that stuff is cool. And it matters. I mean, it's awesome.
All the way through streetcar people from Missouri too, you know, all their kids, now they're all into faster cars and stuff like that. And, you know, I mean, Alex Taylor, she came when she was super young. She was really young when she was doing the Camaro here, you know, running the Camaro. And I think, didn't she do her personal best on her birthday or something like that? Why we were actually
her 18th birthday, she ran her first 8 on her 18th birthday on Rocky Mountain Race Week. So, you know.
So, I mean, a lot of kids. Blaine, you can see him. I mean, he's coming up from where he was at, and now he's winning Rowdy Radial at other events and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you never know. You don't know where your kid, you know, if you give your kid the chance, and just our junior kids, it's so awesome to watch. That's probably one of my favorite things to do, is go down there and watch the junior street kids. You got 13-year-old. I mean, think about that. 13 years old, you get to go with your parents. Your dad or your mom gets to, you know, drive the car from track to track. they get in the passenger seat and you get to go rip down the track all week long as a teen, as a young kid, all the way up to 16 years old. And then there's nothing better than that, to watch those kids do that. I love it. It's awesome.
It is. It's great. I hope everybody that's watching that is a first timer or hasn't been on these events understands that, the real passion that we have for this. There's, this event is Matt and June's, but we often talk about the fact that there's a core group of us, that are another 10 or 20 of us that feel like we own this thing too, because we've heart and soul into this as well. And because it's just such an experience for everybody. So the people that earlier were like chiming in saying, "Oh, I'm going all by myself," like, do not put your head down and just go do the event. Please, people will hang out with you and you will meet new friends and have a great time. And please, please, please take advantage of how awesome everybody is.
And come say hi. I mean, last year it was a little difficult for me. Ron wasn't running the lanes. He had other things he had to do, so I had to run the lanes. So I didn't get as much time as I normally do to go out and see everybody, and it was kind of crazy. There was a guy who's like, he was talking to Chris, my good buddy Chris, who helps us, and he's like, well, have you met June or Matt? And he's like, no, I don't want to go bother them or whatever. Come freaking bother us. That's what this is all about. Like,
yes.
We're just like you guys. We are just normal people. Don't be intimidated to come say hi, because we love it. I try to get out there and go see everybody when I can, if I'm not too busy. And like I said, last year it was a little tough, but I got to see everybody in the lanes anyways. Like, I got to see everybody as they were coming down and talk to them and whatnot. But I like to get out there and, I miss being one of the guys out there actually in a car side by side with you guys. So as much as I can go visit with you and do whatever, that's where I get my enjoyment.
Yeah. And Matt and I talked about that this afternoon too, is that, we're racers. I did the very first drag week and have been doing dragon drives ever since. Like, we've never not done a dragon. There hasn't been a single year since then that we haven't done a dragon drive, until we have only been streaming the last few years. But this is what we do. We're racers too. And honestly, race week this year is at the same time as drag week, but Matt and I had a plan to be going to drag week and competing ourselves, and we couldn't because the schedule just didn't work out right with the racetracks, and that is what it is, and we're okay with that. But know that we are as diehard as the rest of you and want to be a part of it. And here is one thing. If you're a road weeker, you can help any one competitor one time on the road. If you're a competitor, you can help your fellow competitors on the road, all that stuff. The other person that can help you at any time is this guy. And I am happy to. You can't stop me. I'm the guy pulling over. Neil's like, "We got to get there, dude." And I'm like, "Yeah, but we have a dip can and some electrical tape, and I'm going to make an idler pulley for this Mustang," which we did. And I still can't believe that worked. But we're those people. I mean, Matt and June have stopped and helped people a bunch of times and then run out of gas 10 miles later.
Right. And that's it. It's the trash calling you. "Are you guys going to get here? We'll be there. We're just running a little bit late. Don't worry. Everybody knows what they're supposed to do. We'll be there. We either stop to help somebody or run out of fuel, but we will be there." It happens. What do you want? It happens. You ran out of times I have, so I don't even want to hear it.
I know. That's the thing. My superpower in yours is running out of fuel most of the time real close to the bump. You're going to laugh. You know what I ran out of fuel in yesterday?
What?
The forklift.
Oh, my God.
In the shop, the forklift is up in the air, and it goes, dut, 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 dut. And I'm like, "Grab the other propane tank." My dad goes, "It's empty, too." I'm like,
oh, God. Hey, to be fair, when I ran out of fuel the last time, there was a gas station where I ran out of fuel 10 years ago. There was one there. It just didn't happen to be there anymore. So I thought there was one there, and I made it exactly to where that station was before I ran out.
Oh, God. So, yes, so bring a gas can so that you need diesel for the bus and gasoline for Chad and Neil in the MacFab van.
Hey, I'm lucky enough. I'm not driving the bus. Donnie's driving it. I'm driving my pickup. Yeah. My pickup's got the 50-gallon tank, extended tank in there, so I can just go a little bit farther before I run out of fuel. And the this bus holds like 250 gallons, so it should be able to get us close to all the way around trip before it runs out.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
bad thing is it doesn't have a gas gauge. For whatever reason, RTD buses do not come with a gas tank from the factory. So we have a dipping stick. But I'm pretty sure with that kind of fuel, that capacity, we should be okay.
Dude, Daphne's wagon has used a dipstick as the gas gauge since we got it. It's never had a working gas gauge. If you look inside the passenger side rear window, you roll the tailgate down, tucked in there is a wooden dowel with marks on it for how many gallons are in the thing. It's scientific. It's perfect. And you drop it straight down. It's good.
Is the tank still on the outside or is it inside?
Yeah. No, the tank's on the outside. In that car, it's in the quarter panel. So it's vertical. So the stick works perfect.
I was just curious if you ever made Cole check it while you were going down the highway. But if it's on the outside, that might have been stuff.
He wouldn't do it, but I have checked it while we went down the highway because the back window is at an angle like this. So when you put the window down, you can stick up and do it. But Cole wouldn't do it. He's a chicken. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, that's it. We're going to call it. Really appreciate all of you guys. Thank you so much for all of the great questions and comments. If you need anything else, RMRWers on Facebook, that's the group that you should be in. And that's where all the information will be. Again, if you are a Wicked Chick, join the Wicked Chick Facebook group that we shared. And we'll be making announcements there. Probably tomorrow I'll make some announcements on some of the cool stuff that's going on. Cody just hit me up today. He found some cool things at the store that he bought to add to the prize pack. So there's some neat stuff. So, and if you're out there and you want to donate to the Wicked Chick Awards, please hit me up on Facebook or email me, chat@bangshift.com. We would love any donations, anything, swag, whatever you want to do. We would appreciate it. Once again, I did t-shirts as we always do. So every woman that's competing will get a t-shirt. And every co-pilot that's a woman, if the driver is a woman. So because that's doubling up and we give you special kudos for that. So that's pretty cool. So
you have until noon on Saturday to send in your video tech. After that, I just don't have enough time to go through them. So all the way up till noon, go to the page. My phone number's on there. You can either send it to me through my phone number or, like Chad said, Matthew E. Frost. Make sure you do the Matthew E. Frost because when Meta or whatever changed their stuff, they locked me out of my other account because it was my old phone from way back when. And I don't know, some weird stuff, but I can't get into that account no more, which really sucks. But do the Matthew Frost account, send it through that messenger. And then something else is super cool that, if you're just now following on the junior street stuff, Pitt State is actually giving a scholarship to the top 3 in the junior street class. So that is really cool. Like I was working on trying to get something like that done for a few years now. I wanted to do it. And Chad Ehrlich called me and he's like, Pitt State needs some help kind of getting their name out there. And it's a great school. And he went there and I've seen a lot of, actually since then I've kind of been paying attention. There's a lot of actually cool people that have come out of that college. And they're super excited. They're going to be on site, but they're going to give a scholarship to the top three of the junior street. So that is awesome. Like that's so cool.
Great
to have that.
Hell yeah. That is awesome. I love that. Well, and we have some cool stops on the route and stuff with people that specifically reached out to us because they wanted to be a stop. If you know somebody that's on the route, we posted the routes up. They're on my Facebook page, on the Bang Shift Facebook page, on the Rocky Mountain Race Week Facebook page, and on RMRWers. If you know people that are along the route, tell them to hang out and watch. If you know Girl Scouts in one of the towns we're going through and they want to sell hot dogs or cookies, you tell them to do that. And if they hit us up, we will let people know that they're going to be there. And I don't know if you met me, but I've never turned down a hot dog. So whatever, or Girl Scout cookies, quite frankly. So, so any of that kind of stuff, we want the community involved. If there's a way to do it, let them know we're coming through. If you need something from us, reach out to me or Matt, and we'll help you out with that.
Yeah, and if you think that Chad just happened to send those routes out without me knowing, you don't know very much because I had an idea of what was going on. Huh, Chad?
Oh yeah, it was great because everybody's like, literally, you and I talked about it weeks ago, and I'm like, yeah, and you're like, no, you should do it like you don't, like, you didn't get permission. And I'm like, hell yeah. And then people literally were posting up, is this real or are you messing with us? I'm like, okay, I like the idea of messing with you, but do you understand how much time it takes to actually do the route and put all of that? Because it is not just pull it up on Google Maps. If it was, half of that junk would be wrong. Like, it's, oh my God, I would not do that. It's too much time to do a practical joke. It's just horrible. So yeah.
And for those of you that want to know why we did that, like, I mean, basically what it comes down to is, and that's what's crazy too, is like, there's a lot of times when we go through some of these places, especially in the past, me and June were driving it on the weekend. So, on a Saturday night or a Sunday night or whatever, there's nobody open. Like, you can't, it's hard to stop and talk to people to set this stuff up. I mean, then I got to be back to work. So what we would do is we would just do it, and we would, we'd call those places during a weekday and let them know that we're coming most of the time. Or sometimes you just end up stopping there or whatever. But
right,
this way, what this does, and then the towns would always be like, man, if we knew you were coming or whatever, we would do this, we would do that. And so we got to thinking about it, and we've seen it with, I mean, I'll give credit where it's due. Sick Week sends all their stuff out early. And I think what that does is it actually lets the towns know that you're coming. And then it also lets those people who are come out and watch the cars, well, with them coming out, then they're going to want to show up at the event and see what's going on top of that. So it just creates a lot more stuff. Plus, it gives opportunities for, somebody to say, hey, I have a shop in this town, and I would be willing to help you guys out when you come through there. So I think on that aspect, I think the positives outweigh the negatives on that by far. And I don't see, I see all good coming from us doing it that way.
Right. And I mean, there were, maybe 10 people that went, oh, I didn't want to know. It's like, well, then don't read. I mean, it's all good.
You're going to get it anyway. Your co-pilot's going to screw up the directions. You're going to turn somewhere where you ain't supposed to. The experience ain't going to be any different than it is right now. So
no, exactly. Because if your co-pilot doesn't tell you the wrong direction and you don't at one point or another want to kill each other, you're not on a drag and drive.
Doing it right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Matt, I appreciate it. Tell June hi, and it's time for you to go to bed.
Yeah, I've been up since 2:30, so
I know.
This morning.
Yeah, for all of you that don't know, when Matt sends you a message at 2:30 or 3:30, it's not because he's been up. It's because he just got up. If I send you a message at 2:30 or 3:30, it's because I'm still up. Okay, but Matt calls me at 6:30 in the morning, and that's our normal time that we talk because I'm the only one he knows that's awake at that hour.
All right. Thank you, guys. Everybody be safe getting there. If you got any questions, let us know. I seen a bunch of video texts come in while we were doing this, so bear with me. If I don't get them to them tonight, I'll get to them in the morning, and then I'll put out a deal letting you all know that I got all of them. And then if I seen a squirrel or something and forgot to respond to you, then you'll have to send me another message telling me that you sent me and I didn't respond. So
yeah, exactly. All right. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate you. All right, everybody. We'll see you next time. See you on Sunday.